Watch this video, then we'll talk.
A few studies had found that the negative consequences of living with a single mother were smaller for Black children compared to their white peers. And researchers had speculated that the extended family had a role to play. That is, deeper embeddedness in extended family networks helped to serve as a protective factor for African American children. While I was intrigued by the notion that the extended family could play some sort of compensatory role, I was even more struck by this puzzle that was mentioned only in passing. This was the first time that I had heard that the consequences of single motherhood varied across racial groups. And it countered everything that I had been taught to believe about the role of single motherhood in shaping outcomes within the African American community. It also stood in direct contrast to what I knew about social welfare spending in the US. You see, African Americans have the highest rates of single motherhood, and this deviation from the two parent family is routinely indicted as a fundamental cause of their disadvantaged position in society. And our federal government actually spends hundreds of millions of dollars each year trying to promote the formation and maintenance of the two parent family as a part of a federal strategy to reduce poverty and racial inequality and to improve child outcomes. So, naturally, this elicited a lot of questions for me. How could single motherhood be less negatively impactful for Black children, and yet we devote so much time, attention, and taxpayers' dollars trying to reduce it for this group? Does the extended family truly have a role to play in explaining the differential effects of single motherhood? And why had this finding about the disparate impacts of this family form received so little broad attention? Typically, in the literature, it was discussed as an aside, as a footnote or a detour, if you will, on the path to much more important research findings. But I thought that this puzzle deserved far more attention, so I decided to take a detour of my own.
Oh, I had to break out the handy dandy for this one. So, I talk about community all the time on this channel for a reason, not to deviate away from paternal responsibility, but to create long-lasting systems for success, both for the individual and for the community. That is a Who is that? That is Christina J. Cross, an assistant professor of sociology at my alma mater, Harvard University. For those of you who are new here, yes. Yes, that's me. Okay, moving on. So I will definitely be buying her book and reading it. I'm curious if people would be interested in maybe doing like a book club kind of situation with it. And for those of you who might be visually impaired, I'm just going to read the title. Why Opportunity Gaps Persist Between Black and White Youth Raised in Two-Parent Households. I will include the link to it below. I took a lot of notes. I had so many thoughts on this, and I am very excited to share them with you. But before we do that, hi, my name is Shayna. For those of you who are new here, I'm a journalist. I did not study journalism at Harvard. I studied something completely different and then found my way into journalism a few years later. But yeah, so I'm a journalist. I talk a lot about decentering men and child-free living on this platform through an intersectional lens. So if any of that sounds like a vibe, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you are interested in moving out of the United States, there are a bunch of free resources under Black Babes Abroad in the description. That includes a free checklist, so that way you can start figuring out and making a plan for how to move abroad. Me and my co-founder, we do lives once a week, or try to do lives once a week. Every now and then I have a business trip, so I might not be able to attend. But we try our best to do lives once a week where we go through that checklist, answer questions, add more nuance to it, because it's really focused on marginalized women and femmes. Like, y'all have my heart, and I really want you guys to not have a barrier for entry as it relates to finances, so that way you could get the information that you need. Obviously, if you are not a marginalized woman or femme, these resources are also applicable to you, because when we uplift the most marginalized of us, everybody wins. I'm going to be reading a lot from the handy dandy for this conversation. So, even before the slave trade tore apart the Black family unit, we largely, not entirely, but largely, lived in matriarchal communal spaces. Non-Indigenous European societies focus on the individual and the success of those who have and hoard resources. First of all, for those of you who don't know, yes, there are Indigenous Europeans, and yes, even to this day, they are being persecuted by non-Indigenous Europeans. From the Romani to the indigenous communities in Scandinavia, the white-on-white crime is rampant. Because this is a point we're going to be circling back to, I want to make sure that we caught it. Before the transatlantic slave trade and all of the trauma that came with that, which included the destruction of the Black family unit, largely matriarchal and communally focused, versus on the other side, the kidnappers, the rapists, the villains of this story, largely focused on the individual, communal versus individual, and the hoarding and keeping of resources versus communal. So both sides of this were magnified in the moment, and especially historically as we lead to the present day, through the women and the mothers that were involved in the transatlantic slave trade. So that includes the white women that benefited from it and the Black women that were sold for parts. Black women survivors and their children had to learn quickly how to depend on community, how to build and establish safe community for their and their family's survival, especially as their male counterparts were killed, tortured, and sold off at a whim and forcibly entered into prison, which was just the continuation of slavery, which then became the prison industrial complex, which also led into the school to prison pipeline, as these things have continued to tear apart the Black family unit. The results of learning how to navigate this ongoing, persistent, and violent trauma has also led to, these are some examples in the here and now. Your mom's good friend became your auntie. This is why when a lot of Black people say, oh yeah, my auntie, it's not, blood-wise, not necessarily your auntie, but community-wise, that's closer than family sometimes. Your best friend will become your sister. And you've got full sister privileges, which does also mean discipline, which once upon a time, that would mean that, okay, your auntie or the teacher or the whatever, you were acting out of line, somebody's getting beat. And then mom would be like, thank you, community. Now, should we be beating kids? No. No. And that was just like a further extension of the reality of just how true that family unit extended into, that those parent privileges extended past the nuclear family. And the community learned how to raise the children. These skills for survival were passed down, not just generation to generation within the nuclear family, which would have been a hoarding of resources, but community to community to community. A further example of that is why we have sayings that are generationally understood and passed down as wisdom. This is why we have things like the Green Book, or we understand, hey, that part of town, I might not fully understand why, but I know not to go to that part of town. And then you get older and then you figure out why not to go to that part of town, but that was passed down by grandma from her grandma to her grandma, and they all figured it out, but the information remained the same. Now, conversely, white children historically were not raised by their parents and were taught how to control. White mothers who were/are the darling of white supremacy, listen, it's just a fact, we have to keep it pushing, never learned how to survive the beast that they helped create historically. A beast built off of individualism and the hoarding of resources does not know how to create community, safe, effective community. And community was never important because the nuclear family was created. And that hoarded the resources, that hoarded the information. That was the entire community. If your mom and your dad didn't have the answer, well, I guess you're out of luck. Or if their parents didn't, I'm so sorry. And especially when it comes to, as white people navigating an increasingly nuanced and increasingly intersectional reality, there's so much information that you are not privy to because the community aspect is so small. And guess what? This immediately affects the children. And as generations pass, and now the children of white single mothers who are no longer the immediate beneficiaries of the patriarchy within their communities and how white supremacy plays a part of that. The man is gone. The white man is gone. White single mothers are now now the children of white single mothers are the inheritors of a broken kingdom. There's no historical or experiential context for community outside of control. And this is how you get these ongoing, I'm not even going to call them stereotypes because we see them all the time. The stereotypical PTA mom who's constantly trying to control how things work within the classroom and outside of the classroom, and then the cliques that are surrounding that. Oh, you said you were going to bake these cookies for this time and you didn't pick up at this time, and we're going to bring this up at the control, not necessarily bringing in understanding the nuances of other people's situations and lived realities. And how are children expected to thrive within these conditions? They're not. Now, what this says about all those boogas that have a whole lot to say about Black single mothers is for a completely, it's for a completely different video. But I am really excited to read that book. My God, what is going on outside? I don't know. All right. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. And please, for the love of God, stay safe out there.